Welcome to my review of the summer 2016 LEGO Star Wars Clone Turbo Tank, set number 75151 with 903 pieces. Its original retail price was $110, which seems like a steal compared to what LEGO is charging for similar sets these days. We've got 6 total figures, 2 of which are throw-in battle droids, which we'll circle back to in the figure section, but we've got 4 bangers on the other side of things, like just absolute 10 out of 10s, perfection. The Turbo Tank box art is truly amazing as it rolls through Kashyyyk. I think it's kind of underrated as I'm looking at it again here almost 10 years later. The battle droids, by the way, just shooting everyone in the back, I guess. No one is facing that way. Kind of weird. The back of the box is also really sick as it highlights all the features and functions of the build, and it's got this nice hologram version of the tank on the top right. I love that. Anyway, let's cut into this box, and pulling out the contents, you are going to find bags numbered 1 through 6 with an additional 7th bag that contains your 10 giant Lego wheels. That's awesome. You also have an instruction manual, inside of which are obviously going to be normal instructions, but at the back, I'm kind of feeling some nostalgia for summer 2016. This is really awesome to see again. It's been a while. Anyway, let's hop into the minifigs, and we'll start with the ones that I don't like, which would be the 2 battle droids. And it's not that they are bad battle droids, I just think it's really dumb that a big clone trooper set has the same amount of battle droids as it does clone troopers. That is stupid. Why do we do that? So I think this has mostly been changed in modern day LEGO Star Wars, but I still don't even think they should include battle droids here. Like, just take them out and include an extra clone trooper. That would be my opinion on that. I know that LEGO Star Wars wants to have conflict within their sets, and that is apparently the reasoning why. I still think low-key the reasoning why is to trick people into thinking they're getting a better value than they are, but that's just me. I'm a little cynical. They're good battle droids, though. They didn't do anything wrong. I'm not going to punish them. Now, as for your clone troopers here, we'll start with Commander Gree. This is a banger fig, 10 out of 10. Like, it's amazing how great LEGO Star Wars clone troopers were. Like, the golden era may have been over at this point in 2016 for LEGO Star Wars, but the minifigs, as we'll see with the other 3 still in the set, are still amazing here in 2016. So Commander Gree, just literally perfect. Everything is awesome. Got that silver colored clone trooper helmet with the green eyes, perfect print on top, great detail on the torso and legs all throughout. Like, amazing, amazing figure. Same exact thing can be said about the Kashyyyk trooper, just another amazing 10 out of 10 minifig. And then we've got Quinlan Vos and Luminara as a couple of Jedi in this set. Quinlan Vos is an extremely well detailed minifig. I love his long flowing hair, got the green lightsaber, and he does have a double face print, so you do get a couple of different facial expressions, but that's a great figure. And Luminara might be the best figure in the set to some people, but all 4 of these are in contention for best figure in the set. Like, all of them are amazing. Luminara here, just incredible work. The one qualm I have is that if you look at the belt, you're going to see the brown color doesn't really match up as you go lower, which is really odd because in both cases it's printed on black, so there's no reason that that brown belt shouldn't match. So I think that's really weird, but the rest of the detail on her, front and back, is incredible. She's of course got a great soft cape, green lightsaber, and her headdress is just a perfect piece as well. You've also got 2 facial expressions, so she can get an angrier face when she needs to, I guess, fight back against the clone troopers during Order 66 perhaps here. Anyway, love the figure selection. This was of course during an era when LEGO Star Wars really cared about how great their minifigs were and how properly detailed they were, and they were doing a great job here. My only qualm, as I said, is that there weren't more clone troopers in a clone trooper set. Same amount of battle droids as clone troopers. That's just silly. But looking past quantity, the quality here is generally amazing. So before we get to the turbo tank, there is a little side build included in this set, and it's what people seem to really want from LEGO Star Wars when it comes to an ATRT, and that is a really close to minifig scale ATRT build included with this turbo tank. And it's probably the best one that LEGO Star Wars has ever released at this scale. Getting into the front of the turbo tank build here, given the scale, they've done a really good job detailing this thing. You've got some of the lights on the very front, which look great with a translucent color, a little darker translucent color for some of the windows to the interior of the turbo tank, although you of course can't see clean through them. God dang it. We'll get to that, but that is one of my biggest annoyances with this turbo tank, just accidentally shooting off spring-loaded shooters. They do a really good job, and you'll see this throughout the turbo tank, using brick-built detail, so to represent the shape on the front of the build, instead of a sticker, they use the dark red brick there. You've also got some cannons at the bottom here, which can be moved down and then back up as you please, so if you want to shoot at a target lower on the ground, you can point these things like basically straight down, or even almost at itself. Pretty crazy, but I think they work great as one of those added play features and they're always something that I thought looked really cool on the front of the turbo tanks there. My least favorite part about this front section is probably the inclusion of olive green. It's the only use on the actual turbo tank build, and really it probably just should have been gray there. I don't really see a point to using olive green there other than the fact that the ATRT uses olive green, so maybe they just thought that was a good idea because of that, but I could care less about that. I think it would have looked better with gray there, so I do wish it was gray, but otherwise this top section looks nice, shaped well. Now to get into the interior, pretty simple. You just pull the side panels, pull the top panel up, and pull the front panel down. Pretty colorful in there. Now this section is pretty simple and clean. Love the use of tiles as well in the middle, just helps it look extra clean, but you've got a steering wheel on one side, you got a print and control panel on the other side, and then you've got these studless sections for the minifigs to be placed in like so. And you can have them sit forward. They can even lean a little bit further back. It'll hold them in place a little bit better like that, but they do look a little awkward. I do wish they had something holding them a little bit more vertical, because you really don't need them to lean back like that. Anyway, you get your 2 clone troopers in there, which again, this is going to be part of my reasoning here. You need more clones in a clone trooper set, because just like that, you've used them all, and we've only gotten through the first section of the build. Pretty insane. Getting into the middle section of the turbo tank, things are going to be pretty action-packed here. It's definitely where most of the features are. First off, detail-wise, you've got some lighting, more lights that match the very front lights on the turbo tank. You've got another light on the watchtower there, so that's nice. More detail on the side, a lot more brick-built detail, especially with that red striping that continues on from that front section. Looks very nice there. Got a little grill piece on the side, add a little texture on top too with more grill pieces. Everything looks really good detail-wise, and it's going to be more of the exact same on the other side. Now, the most glaring thing that you'll see are these big missiles on the side of the turbo tank, and actually, it's a fairly accurate feature to have there. The only inaccurate thing is that they don't have it to where it can retract into the turbo tank, I think. But like, as far as what we saw in Revenge of the Sith, this is pretty spot on. Like, those missile things pop out and then they fire off. My issue with this is that when I see this turbo tank, I don't inherently want to grab the handle, which we'll get to. I always want to grab it by the side like this, and then I shoot the missiles off on accident every time. So that can be a little bit annoying, honestly. Otherwise, I think it's a really cool feature that's really nicely integrated. It's just like, this is where I want to inherently grab the build. I guess you could grab it here, but then it's too back heavy. Grab it here, a little front heavy. So I always thought this was a nice center spot, and then you just accidentally fire off missiles. Again, it's got the handle included, so it's really my fault, but it's just something I've noticed with the build over the years. Aside from the misfirings, though, it might be one of like the coolest integrations for spring-loaded shooters onto a build like that. Like, it just works well. It's very accurate, so I love that. Now, on the very top, we've got quite a bit more going on as far as play features go. First off, you've got this lookout tower, and there's a very nice printed control panel there. You can take your Commander Gree, have him stand on the back of it, and that definitely works well. I think it's one of the hardest things for them to design given the size and scale, but fitting a minifig on there, it looks fairly good even without a minifig, so it kind of works both ways. I prefer it without the figure personally as far as the look goes, but you know, you have them on there and you can actually lift this thing up. My issue is if you lift it like this, it might pull out, so you don't really want that. You kind of want to try to grab the side like that. It will automatically lock into place with the teeth there, so it's not just going to fall back down. You have to manually push it back down, and you can stop it wherever you want on there. Like, the teeth will just stop it wherever, and it's gonna stay there until you push it all the way back down. So I think that's a really cool feature. Works well, like I said. And then you've got this larger cannon on top, which is pretty dope looking. So we'll just take our Kashyyyk trooper, have him grab onto those handlebars, and now he's ready to take on any of the incoming battle droids. It can spin 360 degrees with him on there, like nothing gets in his way, which is an awesome part about this build, that you're able to do that, because, you know, even though it's small, like, you still have enough space to actually use the functions and features. But I would like to again make the point that this set does not have enough clone troopers, because, oh, look, both our clone troopers are manning their posts, and now we don't have one for the ATRT, nor do we have any to drive the build. I mean, you could use the Jedi to drive the build, but then you don't get to have your cool looking Jedi outside of the build. I don't know. Just, why do we not have more clones in the clone sets? So lame. That's going to bring us to the handle, which is really wide, which is nice if you have larger hands, because you're going to have no problem picking this thing up. You can get 2 fingers under it super easily. Center of mass isn't perfectly centered there, but it does work very well, and you're not going to have any trouble with it breaking off when it's on the handle. So shake it around, you know, you can see it's definitely a very durable build there. Now, you know there's got to be an interior here, and you just pull this whole section down. Usually it would just be this center section that came down, but in this set, it's both the front and the back panels as well, so they curve off of that. Now, when I open the front section, I showed you just doing this, but you can, if you're having trouble accessing whatever you want, you can pull that all the way down. It gives you much easier access to that forward compartment, like complete full access if that's what you need. Or, you know, like I showed, just like that is going to work too. But anyway, back to our middle section here. Isn't that insane? That's like super easy access. Unfortunately, no troop carrying ability in here. Back in 2010, they included some studs that you could still throw figures on. This one is completely tiled off, so it's really only intended to carry the ATRT in here. You just have to fold it up somewhat like this, and then on the box, it actually shows you putting it in sideways like this, but there's no way this is actually going to fit like that. Like, there's just too many pieces in the way. It's too big, so it doesn't actually work like that. You actually have to turn it the other way, but it'll slide right in, and then you should be able to close. And there I go, accidentally shooting off a spring-loaded shooter again, and I did it again, even though I'm so aware of it. You close up both sides, and your ATRT is stored inside, ready to go. It's not the cleanest storage solution because it's not like on rails or anything, so it can move around a little bit, but the interior is so small that like it holds it mostly in place just by the fact of it being small. Now, you should have noticed the extra storage for your bonus spring-loaded missiles. You're going to get 2 extras of those in the set, so actually 6 total, which is very nice given how easy it is to inadvertently shoot them off and I suppose lose them, because it takes me a minute to find them sometimes, even though they're bright blue, but you know, sometimes they just get lost, so extras are nice. I do also really like these yellow pieces here that you can spin for your watchtower, and that just makes it easier to get it up and get it down if you are having trouble grabbing onto it, or like I showed, like that top piece can come off easily. So if you're having trouble with that, you can always just do it this way, and it's a little longer of a process, but it works a little bit smoother perhaps. This section here kind of feels like wasted potential. Could have had maybe a crate or something there, but no, they just left it completely blank, even though, yeah, something definitely would have fit there, but a weapons rack, anything, but no, nothing. In the next little section, they actually did make use of the space, and they've got a large crate in there, bright yellow, very vibrant. Slide that on out, and inside we are going to find a thermal detonator and a couple of extra blue studs, which will be useful for both the stud shooter on the ATRT and the weapons on top of the next section back here that you can kind of see. It's a rather large storage bin, so you can even take like the weapons from your characters and place them in there. Like, you can store quite a bit in there. I like that they included such a large bin, but slide that back in, close those up, and that area of the turbo tank as well. Very nicely designed. Always like that use of that phone piece. On top of the very rear section of the turbo tank, you've got this double stud shooter. Looks really nice. Very sleek design, honestly, keeping it low profile, and the stud shooters work just like you would expect. Bang and bang. Works nice, solid play feature. And then you've got the rest of the front section here. There's a couple of lights on the bottom, which I didn't even remember being there. That's a nice little attention to detail, even on a smaller build like this. Nice to have them there. Now, before we go inside this front section, I want to point out another area on the build I don't like. That tan. Like, why not make that piece gray, and then it would be gray at the back? And I don't know, just that tan and that little bit of olive green on top at the front. I just wish they were gray. I think it would look a little bit better. But anyway, we'll drop this front section down, lift this section up, and then, yeah, these side sections don't really go anywhere. You are just kind of stuck with how they are. So just a single seat there for a minifig. And once again, because all of our clone troopers were in use, we got to pull them off and bring them along. Like, I know you could use the Jedi here, but it just makes sense to me that the clones would be piloting it. Plus, even if we were using the Jedi, we would still have a seat or station empty, so there should have at least been one more clone trooper in this set, regardless of whether or not you think the Jedi should be being used to man the stations, or if they should be outside of the turbo tank fighting, which I think they should be outside the turbo tank fighting, so I really think we should have had 3 more clone troopers. But regardless, you've got a printed control panel in here, same one that we see on the other side and on top of the build, just that same seating setup, and then just for fun, they included a little coffee mug. That's whatever to me. Oh, and there's also an additional clip on the other side that you could hold the clone's weapon, so that's nice. Definitely good storage on this set given its size. The final and potentially most important feature on this turbo tank is going to be its wheels. First off, the look of them, really solid. I think these are the best looking turbo tank wheels that LEGO ever had, and I wish they would keep this design going forward, unless they really come up with something a lot better. I really like the way these look. They also sound cool because they have like little gaps every, I don't know, inch or so, and so it just sounds cool as it rolls along. It just makes a really, I don't know if you guys can hear that. makes a really cool noise. It also obviously can move very fast, nice and smooth. Now for the connection and suspension, it's a very similar design to what we had seen in the previous two turbo tanks at this point. So everything can just move pretty freely. Like the front two and back two are just connected with some Technic pins. And then in the middle, you're actually going to have a legitimate spring piece, which is going to push the turbo tank back into its center position when you pull it to one side or the other. This also, like when you turn it, it turns, which is really cool. Always something I loved about the turbo tank as I played with it when I was younger. So still works all the same here, just like the original version back in 2005. You can do that 8-point turn or whatever it was there. Then I'll just bring my light over here to give you a quick example of how well the suspension works. Pretty good for the size of the turbo tank. You're not gonna have any trouble getting over some pretty moderate terrain, even on the wheels without springs. Just not really a problem here to get up and over. So I think it works really well. Would an iPhone work is a good example here? Like, yeah, that works fairly well. So get right up and over that, no problem. It works just like you'd expect, and it makes for a really nice, solid play set. Really good build quality on this one for 2016. Even though it was downsized, the look is still great. It's got all the same features that you would really want out of it, and maybe minus like a little interior minifig space here, but then again, they didn't even include enough minifigs to fill the seats they gave you, which is a whole nother problem that LEGO Star Wars has, but that kind of is what it is, I guess, at this point, 10 years later. So now having re-experienced the 2016 Turbo Tank, I think I treated it too harshly. Ironically, though, I did rewatch my original review of this set from when I bought it back in 2016, and I wasn't that harsh on it. I didn't absolutely hate it from what I picked up, but I think over time, my disdain for it grew. I was just like, man, it's smaller than 2010, it's not as cool looking, but it really is pretty good, and sometimes it's a little bit of perspective that helps that. I think the 2025 Turbo Tank looking just complete buns to me makes this look way better. Definitely probably the case, right? But yeah, I feel like I treated it too harshly. I like it quite a lot nowadays, and I think this is maybe worth buying in 2025. Like, it looks really good. It's a nice, clean, like clearly Revenge of the Sith style set. So if that's what you're looking for in your display and you don't want that 2005 style one because it is a little dated compared to this, this is not a bad one to spring for. The real killers value-wise, if you're trying to save money when buying this set, are going to be the minifigs. So going for a non-minifig used version would save you a lot of money because I think these two Jedi are particularly expensive. So you could save a lot of money by not getting them. That being said, the minifigs are a good reason to buy this set too. There's a great selection here, just not enough clone troopers included in the set all in all. So I know this one probably isn't cheap on the secondary market, but if you've got the funds and you've been looking at it for a while, I would love to push you towards buying it. I actually think this set is a lot better than a lot of people have given it credit for, including myself, for a long time here. And now looking back on it, it's just pretty dang good. So let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, and you can check out more LEGO Star Wars 2016 set reviews on the end screen now.